I'm so sorry about that. Are you okay? No, what's up? You want book recommendations for your 2026 TBR? Oh, girl, I got you. Sit down. No, seriously, go sit. You want some book recommendations? So now I'm about to serve you some damn good book recommendations. Let go. Just saying, right now, just to preface this is all the genres that I've read. I have not read every single genre. I'm only a teenage girl at the end of the day who still has a lot more life to live. Hopefully. You never know when we're gonna die. Anyways, that was quite morbid. Let me move on. We're gonna start with the first genre, which is classics. Now, classics, I only read one, and I'm still reading it. And that is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Now, this book will change your life. I've already watched the show before I read the books. Big regret. But now I'm going into the book series, and I absolutely love this book. You guys, I think this might be one of the best written classics of all time. Forget Jane Austen and her Pride and Prejudice. Forget Jane Austen and her Emma. Actually, I don't want to diss on other classic authors like that I haven't read. But this book, it needs to be talked about more on Classic Book Talk, okay? Okay? It is incredible. The plot, the characters, the way L.M. Montgomery describes things in this book is absolutely phenomenal.
Are you coming to the tree?
Next genre we're going to move into is dystopian, and I have two amazing book recommendations that you guys are going to love. One of them you've heard all the time on Book Talk. It's very popular for a right reason, and the other one you might have read back in middle school. And those two books are The Giver and The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins and The Giver by Louise Lowry. Now let's talk about both of them individually because they're their own separate books. First, I want to start off by talking about the less popular one because you probably heard tens of thousands of things from other booktubers or book talkers who have read The Hunger Games. We're going to get into that later and my appreciation of that, but first we're going to start with The Giver by Louise Lowry. Now, The Giver is an incredible story. I need this book to be talked about more on BookTube and Book Talk. This book altered the way I thought about society in my 7th grade ELA class. I mean, this book is literally the definition of a masterpiece. I think everybody should be required to read this book once in their lifetime. Like, it should be a law that read The Giver or else you get thrown in jail. Yeah, I said what I said. I am not good at explaining things. I never have been, as you see from my past videos. She is, it's so tea. So I'm just gonna let you guys search up The Giver by Louise Lowry and see what you think and dive into it. The characters are anyways, and the relationship between The Giver and Jonas is very well done and very well written. Read this book. Please read this book. Please read this book. Now let's talk about the more popular recommendation for dystopian that you've probably seen all over BookTube and Book Talk, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Peak author, peak book, peak series. That's all I have to say. You can see in the background right here. Anyways, The Hunger Games is a very classic book, and it's a book that everybody has read at least once in a lifetime. And if you're one of those people who hasn't read it, you need to get out of that little shell, that rock you came from, and start reading it because it is amazing, y'all. I love how Suzanne Collins really reflects on our society and all our faults in our society and puts it in this book and times it by 10 and says, this could happen in the future because it could. She's right. She's a queen. She's a legend. She's in the moment. Can you tell I like Suzanne Collins? Anyways, have you ever heard about this? I'm going to do a brief little explanation. Again, I'm not good at explaining things. That's why you go to school, to learn how to explain things. No, you don't. Anyways, It is about 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen who goes into the games, which, if you don't know what the Hunger Games are, it's a game where you have to fight to the death. There is 24 tributes, or 24 kids ranging from 12 to, I believe, 18. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Katniss has to fight. All these kids, they have to fight in an arena, battle it to the death, and only one can make it out. That's basically a brief summary of the Hunger Games, but it's so much more than that. More than that, and it's so much deeper than that. Please read this if you haven't already. If you've seen all over your feed on BookTube and Book Talk, wherever you're on in the book community, and you still haven't read this book, this is your final sign. Read it. Read it. It wants to be read by you. Next, I decided to split my fantasy into 3 different categories. Well, different categories. Middle grade fantasy and more YA fantasy, because that is literally all I read. And we're going to start off with middle grade fantasy, which middle grade fantasy is like the little pies or cookies your grandma makes. It hits different, it's sweets, and it's just one of those things that you can never get over. First, again, I want to start off with a book series that you probably haven't heard of, that is low-key underrated, and that is the School for Good and Evil series by Soman Chinani. Guys, this was one of the first series that even got me into reading. Yes, The Hunger Games was the book that pushed me on this journey, but this pushed me even further down that journey. This book is incredible. I would recommend it to any age. If you are, 9 years old watching my video and you want a book series, read this book. If you are even 20-something or a 16-year-old who wants to try and get into reading, read this book. Because I'm not going to say promise, but I can tell you're going to get something out of this. Either you're going to absolutely hate it, which is going to make you want to find a book that is better, or you're going to absolutely love it and it's going to continue your journey. I think you're going to absolutely love it, but that is an opinion and not a fact. Again, I'm not good at explaining things, so if you want to learn more, search it up. But the plot is amazing. The pacing is incredible. The characters are very relatable. Personally, I very much did relate to Agatha in a lot of ways, and I also saw a little bit of ways I also saw myself in Sophie in a lot of ways. Agatha, here's the interesting thing about this book. Both of these girls get kidnapped somehow. Okay, they get kidnapped. That is not a spoiler. It's literally on page 1, so don't you worry. They get kidnapped and they get sorted into schools. There's a school for good and the school for evil. But something has mistaken. Agatha is like kind of a witchy person, or a person where her town considers her to be quite sinister, while Sophie is the goody two-shoes of the town. But here's the thing. Sophie gets put into the school for evil, and Agatha gets put into the school for good. Will they make it home alive? Will they stay in the school? Read more to find out. That was such a knee slapper. Okay, let's go into a series you probably heard all over Book Talk or BookTube for a good reason. Okay, guys? And that is, let me see if I carried all. The Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. This series, I recently just finished the last book of this series. And you guys, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm really reading Anne of Green Gables thinking about Percy Jackson. It is something that, it just puts such a chokehold on me. I can't even speak about it. If you've never heard of Percy Jackson, I am going to explain it to you because I think this is easier to explain than some of these other books I'm about to show you. Hold on, give me a second. I need to put these down. Okay, this is the first book, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And basically, Percy Jackson is about a 12-year-old boy who has ADHD and dyslexia, and is kind of like a weird kid in class. He sees things that he's not supposed to. Like, for example, he would see like a big monster walking down the street, while everyone else just sees cars, people walking down the street like people normally would. But there's a special thing about this boy. This boy is actually the son of Poseidon. He is a demigod, meaning half human, half human, half god, right? Right. Okay. He gets sent to this camp called Camp Half-Blood, and he gets also sent onto a quest further in this book. You'll find out what that quest is. There is a trio, there is a slow burn romance, there is amazing humor, and there's honestly relatability in all of these characters. I see myself in all of these characters. And I think that's a special thing of what Rick Riordan wrote. So if you're interested in picking up a middle grade series, I would definitely 100% recommend Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. Is that the series name? Yeah, and the Last Olympian series. Period. Read. First, we have another pretty popular series, and that is the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black. Now, let me explain something for you guys. This series is mainly popular on Book Talk because of the romance. And I see a lot of people recommending it because of the romance. And I don't think that is a necessarily bad thing, because the romance is very good, guys. It's very good. However, this book series is not a romantasy. Don't go into the series thinking that you're going to get a sweet, fluffy romantasy with a side of fantasy and it's just going to warm your heart. It's not. Don't go into the series thinking about that. The Cruel Prince series is a high fantasy series with a subplot of romance. Subplot. When I mean subplot, I mean like a sprinkle, like a little salt particle of romance. Don't go into this thinking you're gonna get romance. However, this series is not just good because of the romance. It is good because of the plot, the character. If I run out of storage one more time, I'm literally gonna cry. So anyways, I didn't know what I was talking about. That is not the point. Whatever I was talking about, blah, blah, blah. It's good for very many reasons. I see why people in Book Talk like it so much. But let me talk about the book individually. The first book is what I mean. Let me put this down. Now, The Cruel Prince is about a 16-year-old girl named Jude Dantre who was taken from the mortal world and put into this Fae world. Basically, why she was taken is because this guy named Maddox killed her parents, took her and her sisters to the Fae world. And the reason why you should be reading this book is because of the politics. The politics. It's amazing. Jude is a baddie. That is all I have to say. That is all my words on the series. This is like my god tier 6-star series. If you're wondering which book is my favorite in this series, it is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. And I think it's the shortest. I don't know why. I just really love this one for some odd reason. Read the series and you'll find out. My phone storage is about to be the death of me. I was literally talking about this book and I got interrupted. What was I saying? Sapphic romantasy. You're a romantasy girly like myself. You'll really like this book. I haven't read this book in a long time, and like I said in the beginning, I'm not good at explaining. So search this book up, read on the back, and the romance made me question things about myself that I did not want to question. Okay, the romance was really cute, guys. The romance was really cute. And I like the overall fairy tale retelling of Cinderella. I thought it was done and executed very, very well. This book is definitely good. I like it. Last book I'm going to be talking about for the fantasy section is Heartless by Marissa Myers. This is actually one of my god tier fantasy romances. You guys, I can yap about this book for hours. This book left me drained. I was literally depressed for 2 days over a book and fictional characters because of Heartless by Marissa Myers. Like, you guys don't understand. This book altered my brain chemistry. It changed the way I thought about the world and about tragic romances. If you like tragic romances, if you like villain retelling, like the villain's origin stories, you're gonna like this book. Heartless is basically about a 16-year-old girl named Catherine, and Catherine is the Queen of Hearts in the future. But we're following her life before she became the Queen of Hearts and why she became the Queen of Hearts, and it's all executed very done. You could tell that the author. I get interrupted by phone storage one more time, guys. I'm starting to go a little insane. In T ways, you can tell that Marissa Myers has literally watched Alice in Wonderland over and over and over and over and over again. After I watched Heartless, I can really tell that Marissa Myers put so much work and love and care into this book, because the parallels between Heartless and, you know, Alice in Wonderland are so to a T, so similar. I love this book, guys. I literally think about this book all the time. Would I ever reread it? Absolutely not. That book made me depressed, and it's gonna make me depressed again if I reread it. But do I think about it all the time, every day in my waking hour? Yes. We're scooting down over to the romance section, the section that everybody loves. That's a generalized statement. Let me not say that. The section that most people love. Romance. I love romance in a fantasy book. I'm not a huge fan of romance in a regular contemporary novel because I get bored easily when there's not something else that's going on. Love is beautiful, but just love. Please don't cut off. Okay, I'm back after another round of deleting more photos. I believe I was talking about romances, and my first romance recommendation is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. You have heard this book all over whatever bookish community you're a part of, and that is because it's that good. I say this is better than the movies, which is also a recommendation. You should read that too, low-key. This book this book is incredible. Incredible. I have no other words. Like, I don't really like romance. Like, I don't like romance on its boring. I hate it. But when you have great banter and great stories behind these characters, their own families, it makes romance a whole lot easier to read. Also, the MMC here, not only is he really hot, but he listens to Conan Gray. So sign me up. Read Betting on You by Lynn Painter. My second recommendation you probably also have heard on Book Talk or BookTube, but you probably heard it less than Betting on You, which I don't know why, because it's just as great, and that is I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Ning. My goal this year is to get into more of her books, because this book ate it up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want to reread so bad, but I'm reading a book, so let me not. This book is Academic Rivals to Lovers. It is a cute romance. They both have very tragic sort of family issues, I guess I should say. And it's Academic Rivals to Lovers. God tier read, God tier read, God tier read. I have 3 books recs. I have 3 book recs. 2 of them, which you definitely 100% have heard before, and 1 of them you probably haven't. And the first one that you probably haven't is Girl Stolen by April Henry. Now, this was a popular book in 2014, I believe, and I understand why. I picked this up on my 7th grade book fair little thing, and I didn't read it until a couple years later. But I should have read this earlier because this was amazing, you guys. I was captivated. I was glued to the page. I could not move my eyeballs. My eyeballs were frozen to it. This girl gets kidnapped, but it's not a regular kidnapping. Not only is she blind, but she also has pneumonia. And this girl, she somehow escapes. Read more. read it to find out more. Let's go. Okay, the next book is a mystery book you've always heard before, and that is because it's so great, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book is what I like to call a book that really got me into mystery slash thrillers. I read this a really long time ago, but I still remember every single detail. Every single detail. This book had me on a chokehold. The plot twist in this book specifically, gagged. Literally gagged. I was like, oh, oh. And if a plot twist makes me do that, because I find myself already knowing what's going to happen before it happens. But this, baby, I was gagged. Gagged. And the last book, no words, just read it. And then I have a thriller, which you've definitely heard of before for a good reason, and there's a movie coming out, and that is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Now, before you watch that movie and you go to your movie theater and you get your little popcorn and drink, how about you sit down and cozy up with this book, because you will not be able to get back up. Okay? This book, I listened to it on audiobook and I didn't have the physical copy yet, and OMG, I was literally doing a puzzle, and as I was doing that puzzle, I finished it. 18 hours. I spent 18 hours of my time reading this book, and it was worth every single minute. And I wish I could go back and read this for the first time, because the plot twist in this was amazing. Don't believe everything you see in this book. That's all I'm gonna say. Read it. Now I'm feeling a little bit of sci-fi, dare I say? Because sci-fi is an interesting genre for me. I don't really read a lot of sci-fi, which I'm trying to get more into now. Like I'm trying to read more classics, I'm trying to read more literary fiction, I'm trying to read more sci-fi. Just try to diverse my reading a little bit. And I do have a couple of interesting sci-fi books that I think you guys will very much like. As The Cinder by one of my favorite authors who wrote Heartless, Marissa Myers. This is the definition of if Cinderella was half cyborg and half human. Well, not really half cyborg, but like a couple percent of cyborg, and then the rest of her was human. And if you're interested in that, and you're like, wait, that intrigues me, then this book is definitely for you, girl. Every book in this series gets progressively better, so even though you don't like this one, even if you don't like this one, I promise the next book's gonna be better than the next book's gonna be better than the next book's definitely gonna be better. And the series has a chokehold on me. I finished Winter in December of 2025, and I miss it. I miss this world, I miss these characters, and I wish I could read it for the first time again. Last is a book that's more dystopian-ish. Well, it's kind of both. And that is Scythe by Neil Schusterman. This book is so incredible. I need to read the second book. Like, whenever I have money in my account again, I need to read the second book. Imagine a world where there's no war, no pain, no disease, no struggles. It is perfect. They even found the cure to death. They found some way to make humans live forever, immortality. However, the Earth, since everyone can live forever and be immortal, the Earth is becoming overpopulated as of natural results of this, and they're having to kill people. Well, the job of a scythe is to kill people, okay? There's two scythe apprentices, which basically go under the role of a scythe, and the scythe teaches them different ways of how to kill a person, and scythe law and scythe rules, and that is Citra and Rowan, and you're going to follow their journey through that. And trust me, it's very interesting. So, last recommendation. Ooh, I'm sorry, that trend from 2024 is in my head. And this recommendation is a literary fiction. Now, I've only read 2 literary fictions, and out of the 2 of them, I would recommend this book over the other one. Whoa. The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This book made me feel a lot of ways. It made me feel emotion. I had a roller coaster of emotions while reading this book. I never expected myself to be the one to like this book just because there is nothing fantastical. It's very real. We had to do a little switcheroo because my phone died. I don't know why. It's like the devil doesn't want me to post this video. Well, I'm going to do it anyways. The amount of emotions I felt from this book, the amount of things I saw in myself that I didn't think I would see in this book caught me dead. This is her debut novel, by the way, and it's literally a masterpiece. I'm going to read the description on the back because it's fairly short, but I just want you to know that this book is 10 times more than what the description says. This book is about their mothers and their daughters, and it's even more than that. In 1949, 4 Chinese women, recent immigrants to San Francisco, began meeting to eat dim sum, play mahjong, and talk. United in shared unspeakable loss and hope, they called themselves the Joy Luck Club. With wit and sensitivity, Amy Tan's debut novel, now widely regarded as a modern classic, examines the sometimes painful, often tender, and always deep connection between these 4 women and their American-born daughters. If that sounds like something that would intrigue you and hopefully get you into literary fiction, then this book is definitely for you. Ooh!